Hey everybody, this is Jason with Modeling Pros, and what I want to talk about with you today is model adhesives. So hopefully you guys can see this area pretty well here, and what I want to go over is something that I've learned just in the last few months that is really taking my modeling to a new level. This is a 1/48th scale P40 Warhawk that I've been working on. I haven't put a lot of time into it lately, but I'm going to try to get back to it. If you started working models as a kid maybe, and all you ever had the opportunity to do was maybe to go to Walmart or someplace like that, you probably used this, which is a cement for adhering pieces of plastic together with plastic models. You probably experience that when you take the cap off of it. Sometimes it just wants to flow out. It makes a huge mess. A lot of times when you apply it and you start to pull it away, it leaves strings. You might, if I get this really close here, you might even be able to see some of these strings that are coming off of there. Anyway, big nasty mess. So what I learned is that this is not the only glue or adhesive out there, which I'm sure many of you probably know that, but I didn't realize it and was using this even up until recently. So this is not completely useless, but it's basically useless. What I've learned since is that there are adhesives that are actually made for melting the plastic and causing them to basically weld together. This is some stuff I picked up at a local hobby store in St. Louis, and this is the stuff that a lot of the guys online recommend. You see here Tamiya. Tamiya is a pretty common brand name. They make model kits. They make a lot of modeling products, and they make this extra thin cement. And the difference between this and something like this is that while this is made to cause two pieces of plastic to sort of be held together, this actually welds them together. So what happens is, for example, if you're working a model aircraft much like this one, frequently the fuselage comes in two halves, which you can see I've already put these two halves together. But with something like this, if you simply run that glue down the two halves and put them together, it's going to be messy, and you know, if you're really not very careful with it, you could even maybe pull it apart. What this does, as I'm going to show you here, I'm going to take the cap off so you can see. If you take the cap off, you can see there's an applicator inside. And what we can do is just take that applicator and run it down the two halves where they join together. And the plastic will actually melt and weld together. Now, you can't see it very well on this because I've got some putty over it, because I'm to that stage on this particular model. But those two pieces of plastic melt, they weld together, and then they effectively become one piece. They're very unlikely to pull apart, and it also helps to reduce seam lines. Now, if you still have some seam lines, what you can do is what I've done here is I've applied some Tamiya putty across here, and I'm not real good at puttying, so this kind of looks like a mess if you can see it, but nonetheless I'll get better. And that's an important lesson with anything you're learning to do with modeling, is the model that you work 10 models from now is going to be a lot better than the one you're working today. And so if you learn a new trick, just dig in and try it. If it's not perfect, you know what? It's alright. Life goes on. You've learned something, learning experience. You'll do better next time. Also, in the world of modeling adhesives are super glues. Now, I noticed at Hobby Lobby the other day that Testers sells super glue, a type of super glue. There was another brand, I can't remember what it was called, but anyway, they had it at Hobby Lobby. I'm sure most of the hobby stores have something. My wife actually handed me this, which I don't know if you can see what it says on the label there. Let me try to get it on camera. It says nail glue, and this stuff is really, really good. It dries in about, like 2 seconds, so you'd better be fast. But what I used it for is on the last plane that I worked, the P-51, which you can see pictures of online, and I'm planning to do a video about that build soon. Anyway, what I used this for was for adhering already painted parts. Give you an example. After I'd already painted the entire fuselage and put the clear coat on it, I wanted to or needed to attach the landing gear, and the landing gear had already been painted as well. And you got to be careful when you're gluing together pieces that have already been painted. If you're not careful, the paint might, if the glue gets on the wrong spot, the paint's going to run, it's going to come off, it's going to be a big mess. Anyway, I put a little bit of this in the holes in the bottom of the fuselage, basically, or the bottom of the landing gear bays, where the landing gear were supposed to be affixed, and stuck the landing gear up in there, and man, that stuff held in a moment. But anyway, I mean, this isn't really made for modeling, it's made for nails, but I'm sure that the super glue that Testors makes, or that other brand that I can't remember that I saw at Hobby Lobby, I'm sure any of that would do the trick. The point is that I'm trying to make with all of this is that if you're still using this, that might be okay, but just be aware there are a lot of other options out there for doing various things. So this stuff takes a long time to dry. This stuff doesn't. This stuff acts as a weld. So does this. The difference between these two is this one's extra thin, which means it really runs down into all the cracks. This one doesn't quite as much. I did use it when I worked the F101, which I may show on a future video, and I really liked it. It was great. So anyway, that's fine. And you know what? One I didn't get out. Let me grab one more real quickly here. And that is this stuff right here, Micro Industries Crystal Clear. This stuff here takes forever to dry. So you're gonna have to not be in a hurry when you're using this, but the beautiful thing about it is it dries clear, as the name indicates. So when you're adhering maybe your canopy pieces to the fuselage, something like these pieces right here that are eventually going to be attached here to the fuselage over the cockpit, you can use that stuff right there, this Micro Industries Crystal Clear, and what you're going to find is that when it dries, it is not going to be visible at all. So if you get just a little bit in a place you didn't mean to get it, it's not going to be the end of the world. And also, if you notice that when you were applying it, you got some in places you didn't want it, it wipes off really easily with just a wet Q-tip. So again, the whole point of this video is really just to let you know that if you are building models and you're just using one adhesive, maybe something like this, because you didn't even realize there was anything else out there, like I didn't until within the last 4 or 5 months, there are a lot of other options out there, and you might want to consider something other than this stuff right here. So I hope that helps you if you didn't have that information, and if you did have that information, well, then I've just reinforced it for you. Anyway, I picked this up at Schaefer's in St. Louis. Of course, I live close to St. Louis, so if you're watching this and you don't live close to St. Louis, my guess is you could probably pick this up at a hobby store in your area. If not, I'm sure you can get it online. I got this at Schaefer's. Ordered this stuff online. Really good stuff. You can get this anywhere, Walmart, wherever, and I guess in order to get this, you have to have a wife that does her nails. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure you can get it at any store. I don't really know where she got it, but the super glue, again, that they sell at other places probably work fine. So, hope that information was useful to you, And I'm hoping to do some step-by-step build videos on this P40 Warhawk. So maybe my next video will be showing you what I've done so far on this and what I'm going to do next. Or I might do a video to show you, to go over some of the things that I've already built. Or who knows. We'll see. You'll just have to tune in and find out. Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate it. Bye now.